Thanks for making us a part of your day. Other people and things can stop you temporarily. You're the only one who can do it permanently. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. They do. You did a little mechanical work yesterday. I did some mechanical work yesterday, Mark. I did.
I believe you.
I did.
I believe you.
I put a rear end in a recliner. That's what I did. That's the best work. You remember growing up?
Yeah.
They used to say, bedtime was like 9 o'clock, and you couldn't wait till you grew up so you could go to bed anytime you wanted. Turned out that was 9 o'clock.
Or earlier.
Or earlier, yeah. And marriage is about understanding. You know about this better than anybody. Marriage is about understanding what irritates your spouse and using it strategically for the rest of your life. That's the way it works.
Using it strategically and successfully.
And successfully. Congressman Mark Amodei in with us this morning. Going over to the county commission today, you're going to have fun. I can tell you that. You're going to have a delightful time. Things are busy in Washington, and with so much going on in D.C. and the like, there is just so much craziness going on these days. But I do understand that the reconciliation bill last week came out, and the tax cuts are going to stay around for a while?
Wyatt, the resolution which sets the parameters by which reconciliation is going to be done was done a week before last. So now the Speaker of the House has said, listen, we want to, for the House, have our part of reconciliation done by Memorial Day. And so, it's like, hey, that's 45 days, give or take, or whatever. And then my bill, because I'm the subcommittee chairman for Homeland Security, which is one of the 12 appropriations bills, will be on the floor around June 12th. So I say that to say this. Your question is, things are moving. They're not moving so fast that you can say, if you want it bad, you get it bad. But nonetheless, this has all been in the works, and you have to. It's time to move expeditiously, transparently in that. So when we go back on Monday, it's hey, saddle up and ride old paint.
I see it like this: you got about 6 months to get everything nailed down before we start looking at midterms.
Well, actually, they're already looking at midterms, but you're absolutely spot on. People go, oh, my God, there's so much up in the air. And it's like, listen, stuff up in the air does not help anybody for midterms. And if anybody understands what it's like to only have 2 of your 4 years having the House and the Senate, it's Donald Trump.
Exactly.
And so part of the reason, well, how come you're moving so fast? It's because you don't want history to repeat itself thinking you got 4 when you only got 2. Now, I'm not intimating that midterms are going to be a problem, but history isn't good for that.
It isn't.
And in this business, you don't want to take anything for granted. You're only as good as your next election.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's let's get moving so that people have something to judge the new administration by, which we think will be successfully. And you hit on one of them, which is the Trump tax breaks, and as well as a lot of stuff that was mentioned in the campaign.
And then that's the other thing: tax on tips and tax for the retired, the Social Security. That is something that, and some people don't understand this. That getting these tariffs in line and making that happen will make those cuts more viable and more possible.
Ultimately, when you true up the books, you got to pay for stuff. And so the tariffs are a piece of that puzzle. I break the tariffs down into 2 things, Wyatt. One is everybody but China, and I think that's coming along good, and you'll start to see some stuff here in the next 30, 60 days at the most, where a lot of that stuff gets trued up in a fairness sense. But the China one, I hope I'm wrong, But I think that's going to take a little longer because that's not just about truing up the books. I mean, you're talking about, you can pick the word. The nicest one is competitor. Going towards the other end, it's adversary or enemy in some extent. So that's going to take a little bit more. Although I will say this: the deeper you dive into it, when you look at the money stuff, because we learned during COVID that you can bring a country to its knees without firing a single shot. And so putting us in a better position to take care of our own selves, and we are still the largest market on the planet by far. So that's a good position to be in, even with China.
And when you look at, and I've talked about this for 25 years on the radio, free trade is not fair trade. Yeah. And that's the issue we find. Yeah. When our products go into some countries with 300 and 400% tariffs, but we let them bring it in tariff-free, where's that fair?
Yeah, that's not a good plan.
Not at all. Now that DOGE has gone through and pointed out the inequities that have, of course, been pointed out by the Grace Commission and going back even into the Roosevelt administration. He had a committee that was similar to the Grace Commission back then. But now we have pointed out how much waste and inefficiency there is in government. When are we going to get that happening in the state of Nevada, you think? I mean, that the business over in Lovelock with the Uprise Broadband, that right there shows you that some people aren't paying attention.
Well,
I know you can't talk about that specifically, but...
No, I can. I voted against the bill. Not that there weren't some good things in that bill, but I remember meeting with the Associated General Contractors before and saying, guys, I ain't voting for this. And they're like, come on. And I said, there's nothing in the bill that tells you that you're going to get a chance to bid on any of that stuff. It's not, there's no buy local, anything like that. And so there's a whole bunch in there where, quite frankly, where all this money that we're borrowing to spend may not see the light of day in Nevada to speak of. And lo and behold, guess what? We have somebody who was awarded the contract who, bought a Nevada license or something, but wasn't really a Nevada outfit. And now it's like NDOT's out $10 million. Department of Agriculture has canceled the rest of it. So now some of us, like here in Nevada, are going to talk to Department of Agriculture to say, okay, so what are you doing with the money that you rescinded? Is that still going to be spent on bringing broadband to Lovelock? Or, how are you solving the problem for broadband in the rurals? And so that meeting hasn't occurred yet, but it's on the books for next week.
Mark Amodei has got to get to the county commission. I'm glad you stopped by this morning talking about some of this stuff. Come on again next time you're in town, because we're here all the time.
Wyatt, first of all, I want to thank you for reaching out. That's leadership. I appreciate it, and I commit to you that I will be back here at KELY, and I'm listening to it when I'm in your range, so go Bobcats.
We'll make it happen there.